Okay, so this is the 13-inch iPad Air. It's running an M2 chip, a binned M2 chip actually, and I think I have an idea who this is for. Now, I don't want to bash too hard on this iPad Air just because I don't think it's a bad iPad at all. I actually think it's quite good when I tested it for weeks on out. It's kind of hard to recommend it over other iPads, especially used iPads in the market. But in case you are in the market for a brand new iPad, let me ask you guys this. Which category do you guys fall under when you're shopping for an iPad? Do you fall into the, I want to buy something new and new things only because I want that peace of mind knowing that, you know, everything's in great working condition, you'll have warranty and have the option to buy an extended warranty if you need it? Or are you in the second category of, I want something newer than what I currently have, but secondhand or refurbished at a lower price point, but you lose out on that extended warranty and that peace of mind knowing that, you know, there might be small imperfections and the battery won't be a tip-top 100% shape. Now, if you fall into that second one and you care about saving money and want something a little bit newer than what you currently have, then, you know, I suggest just getting a used iPad Pro, whether it's the M1 iPad Pro or M2 iPad Pro, for roughly about the same price as this iPad Air. However, if you fall into the first one where you want that peace of mind knowing that everything's in great condition, everything's brand new, then keep watching because this iPad Air is pretty special if you do plan on buying something brand new. Okay, so now that you've made up your mind and you're in the market for a brand new iPad, let's talk specs real quick. The M2 iPad Air that I'm reviewing is the all new form factor in the Air lineup, and it's a 13-inch Air with 512 gigs of storage, and it also has cellular. Now this one of course is rocking the M2 chip with an 8-core CPU and a 9-core GPU. Now this report actually came out a couple of weeks after the iPad hit shelves, but you know, if you guys watch my videos, I try my best not to rush anything and really test out the products before making videos on them. Now, losing one GPU core doesn't really impact you as a user and your everyday tasks, and this iPad Air is technically still about 50% faster than the M1 Air and up to 25% faster in graphics performance. But to give you guys some clarity on what that means, I went ahead and fired up my 12.9-inch iPad Pro with M2 and compared it to this 13-inch iPad Air with M2, ran a Geekbench 6 test on its GPU metal, and here's what we're looking at in terms of scores. Now, as you guys can see, there is about a 10% difference here between the 12.9-inch M2 iPad Pro and the new 13-inch M2 iPad Air. Now, will you notice a 10% difference in everyday tasks? Most likely not. So don't read too hard on what's on a spec sheet, since it's all about how this iPad performs in real world scenarios. And from what I've been able to gather, it performs just as quick as the outgoing M2 iPad Pro. Okay, so in terms of its design, it's basically a stretched out iPad Air. I have the purple color here, but it also comes in blue, starlight, and space gray. Now the display here is a 13-inch liquid retina display that looks beautiful to look at, and since this isn't a pro device, we are capped at 60 Hertz, so we don't have that super smooth 120 Hertz Pro Motion display here. But what I actually love about these new iPads is the fact that they move the camera from that portrait orientation to now the landscape orientation. I hop on a ton of video calls on this iPad, from, you know, briefings to FaceTime calls, and having that ultra wide camera for the FaceTime camera is a game changer in my opinion. I love the look of that ultra wide camera paired with the software portrait blur and portrait lighting. I think it looks awesome. Now, the only thing I am missing here from the Pro line is FaceID. When I have this iPad in its keyboard case, I'm so used to having, you know, just scan my face and unlock the iPad right away. Here, I would have to touch the power button and have, you know, Touch ID scan my fingerprint before going into the home screen. All right, now in terms of its display, the 13-inch Air actually has a trick up its sleeve, and that it actually features a brighter display than its 11-inch Air counterpart. I'm not exactly sure why, but the 13-inch Air can get up to 600 nits of sustained brightness, while the 11-inch Air can only go up as high as 500 nits. Not a huge difference, but something that'll be noticeable for sure if compared directly next to each other. Besides that though, it's a liquid retina display that we've seen from iPads in the past. It's not mini LED, it's not OLED, but it's just plain old LED. But I will say, after using other tablets that aren't iPads, I think iPads in general have the most accurate and most pleasing colors on a tablet. And even though this has a 60 Hertz panel, it doesn't feel slow by any means. I don't exactly know why. Now this new iPad Air also supports this, the brand new Apple Pencil Pro with haptic feedback and barrel roll for a more precise pencil experience. It's basically a second gen Apple Pencil but turned up a notch. As for the Magic Keyboard, you can actually use the Magic Keyboard that fits the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and it should fit the 13-inch Air as well. I have the Magic Keyboard here for my 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and as you guys can see, it works really well here. Now, jumping right back into performance and day-to-day usage though, the iPad Air honestly felt just like the iPad Pro with M2 with a 60Hz panel and a landscape FaceTime camera. Sure, it doesn't feel as smooth without that Pro Motion display, but everything still performed like the iPad Pro. Now, like I said earlier, I did run a Geekbench test on here just to see if there's, any other anomalies or differences between this new Air and the iPad Pro with M2. And as far as CPU performance goes, they score roughly about the same with a difference of, about 0.5%. In gaming, I've been playing a ton of Warzone Mobile on this 13-inch Air paired with a Bluetooth controller, and it's been able to run the game at 60 frames per second constant with everything set to peak graphics, which was awesome. Now, obviously, this isn't going to look as good as the PC version, but I'm able to play for hours on out without the iPad getting too hot, nor am I seeing any drop frames on here. Now, as far as battery life goes, technically this 13-inch Air can last up to 10 hours on a single charge if you're browsing the web or watching videos, and that's on Wi-Fi. I do have the cellular model here, so it's a bit less than that. Plus, with what I've been able to experience, I'm able to drain this iPad in about 6.5 to 7 hours if I'm gaming, watching videos on YouTube and Apple TV, and some light video editing. Now, that's not the claimed 10 hours of battery that's promised here, but I actually have a solution. So huge shout out to Charge for sending over their SharGeek 170 watt power bank and for sponsoring a portion of this video. Now, this power bank can get this iPad Air back up and running in no time thanks to that 170 watt max output. This SharGeek 170 watt power bank is pretty cool because one, the design is unlike anything that you've seen. It's a transparent power bank, which in my opinion is pretty sweet. Second, it has a 24,000 milliamp hour battery inside, and that can input and output up to 170 watts with its super fast PD 3.1 fast charging. And because of its 86.5 watt hour battery, it can also be carried safely on airplanes. And then on top of that, you get this nice display on here to see all your charging stats while you're charging. Now, this does feature 2 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A ports and can fast charge 3 devices at once. And it's also IP66 water resistant, so you don't have to worry about any accidental water or coffee spills here. If you guys want a really cool power bank and one that'll charge almost all your devices up to 170 watts, make sure to click the first link down below. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the M2 iPad Air. The 13-inch form factor is really what helps sell the Air line this year, in my opinion. This is giving people more options at a much lower price tag, especially if you're looking to buy a brand new iPad and you want that big screen iPad experience. If the Airline didn't have that 13-inch display option, then you'd have to shell out $1,300 on the 13-inch M4 iPad Pro, which is a lot of money. So for $800 starting, you're getting a 13-inch iPad Air that can get as bright as 600 nits. You get Apple Pencil Pro support. You're getting a landscape FaceTime camera, which looks amazing. You're getting quad speakers that sounds really boomy and very immersive. And you're getting that powerful M2 chip, which, yes, I know it's 10% worse in GPU compared to the M2 iPad Pro, but like I said in my testing, it's really not that noticeable. Now, obviously, if you want an even cheaper M2 iPad Air, you can go for the 11-inch Air for $600, but you'll just miss out on that 600 nits of max brightness, but still get everything else that's new this year. So at the end of it all, who is this iPad for? I think this iPad Air, this 13-inch variant, are for those people looking to get a big screen iPad that can offer really good performance for video editing, photo editing, consuming media, and playing heavy intensive games, all at a much lower price point. Now, I'm not saying that this is a computer replacement, but for some people, I think this is going to be good enough for everyday use, especially if you pair it with the Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil Pro. What do you guys think of this new iPad Air? Would you pick one up? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.